You probably didn't think twice when you put on that bracelet this morning, or the ring you've worn for years, or the necklace you never take off. Maybe it's beautiful. Maybe it means something to you. But what if I told you that jewelry, something so small, so familiar, might be doing far more than just decorating your body? What if I told you it's shaping your energy, influencing your luck, and silently directing the rhythm of your life without you even realizing it? There's a strange weight to things we keep close, especially the things we wear every day. We believe they're harmless because they're ours, because we chose them. But in Feng Shui, in energetic practice, jewelry is never neutral. It's not just metal or stone or thread. It's a frequency, a signal, a mirror. And every time you wear a piece, you're inviting its energy into the deepest layers of your body, into your blood flow, your breath rhythm, your emotional state. Some jewelry becomes an ally. It sharpens your intuition, strengthens your vitality, and draws luck like a magnet. But others, they become silent saboteurs, blocking your flow, dimming your clarity, shifting your life in ways that feel small at first, until they don't. You might not connect your fatigue to your necklace, or your foggy thinking to that ring you love, or the streak of bad luck that seems to follow you to that bracelet you haven't taken off in months. But I've seen it too many times to ignore. People who wore a piece with the best intentions, only to find out it was never aligned with them to begin with. People who held on to damaged, mismatched, or energetically heavy items and couldn't understand why things kept going wrong. And people who thought they were just unlucky when really their energy was being blocked right at the skin. This isn't superstition, it's energetic architecture. And like any structure, the integrity of what you build around you, what you wear, what you carry, matters. If the frequency of your jewelry clashes with your personal energy, it doesn't just fail to help you, it turns against you. Slowly, quietly, persistently, until one day you realize you're not just tired, you're drained. You're not just stuck, you're blocked. That's why this conversation is urgent, because we all want clarity, we all want flow, we all want to feel strong and supported and somehow right with ourselves again. And most of us never stop to ask if what we're wearing on our bodies every day is working for us or against us. But today, we do. In the next few minutes, I'll guide you through 6 of the most common jewelry mistakes that people make without even realizing, and how just one shift, one change in awareness could release your energy, redirect your path, and open the door to a life that finally feels like it's moving again. This isn't about fashion, this is about alignment. And by the end of this video, you won't just look at your jewelry differently, you'll feel different in your own body. Because when your energy flows freely, so does everything else. Section 1, the tight trap. When jewelry blocks energy flow. It doesn't always announce itself with pain. Sometimes it's just a subtle pressure. A ring that leaves a faint indent on your skin. A bracelet that fits just right but never quite lets your wrist forget it's there. And so you don't question it. You get used to it. You assume it's fine. But what if the discomfort you learned to ignore wasn't just physical? What if it was energetic? What if that tiny pressure, day after day, has been interfering with your ability to rest, to think clearly, or to feel deeply connected to your own sense of direction? What if the reason your energy feels sluggish, your motivation faded, or your emotions muted isn't inside your mind, but wrapped around your body? This is where most people go wrong. Because in the modern world, jewelry is treated as decoration, an outfit enhancer, a statement. But in Feng Shui and energetic construction, the body is a living landscape. Your wrists, fingers, and ankles aren't empty spaces waiting for accessories. They are critical energetic gateways, pulsing with currents that regulate your vitality, your alertness, and your sense of flow in the world. When something hugs these points too tightly, it doesn't just stop circulation. It restricts communication between your inner life and your outer reality. It blocks the invisible signals that tell your body how to release, how to adapt, how to stay open. And in that quiet resistance, your clarity begins to cloud. Your joy starts to dim, and your resilience thins without warning. Most people don't realize how often they're carrying their own blockage on their wrist. That one bracelet you refused to take off because it was a gift. That ring you outgrew but didn't want to replace. That anklet that looks charming but always leaves a mark. We tell ourselves it's no big deal, that a little tightness is normal. But what's normal isn't always natural. And what's natural for your energy is movement, expansion, breath. So when you trap that movement, even in a small area, you're not just pressing down on your skin. You're pressing down on your future flow. And over time, that subtle compression becomes a silent chokehold on your vitality. Have you noticed how some days feel heavier than others for no apparent reason? How your thoughts seem foggier, your decisions slower, your ability to focus weaker? Most would never think to look at their own hands for the answer. But here's the truth. Your wrist alone is home to the Kungu point, a vital energetic pressure point in traditional medicine tied to the body's overall equilibrium. When blocked, it's not just your arm that's affected, it's your entire system. Your ability to detox, to breathe deeply, to feel emotionally available, all of it begins to shut down in small, almost imperceptible ways. And yet, the culprit could be something as innocent looking as a ring that hugs too hard, or a bracelet that's 2 millimeters too tight. Why don't we notice sooner? Because the body adapts until it can't anymore. Because the discomfort is silent, gradual, and easy to dismiss. Because no one teaches us that style should never come at the cost of internal freedom. And perhaps because we often believe that external beauty makes up for internal unease. But over time, your energy will always reveal what the skin has been hiding. It shows up in how you sleep, in how you connect with others, in how you handle pressure or disappointment. You can't fake balance, not when the very pathways that regulate your sense of peace have been constricted by the very thing you thought made you feel put together. Let's flip the perspective for a moment. If you saw a river flowing naturally, would you place a rock in the middle of it just because it looked nice there? Would you interrupt the current of something beautiful and self-sustaining to prove a point about your taste? That's what tight jewelry is. It's an aesthetic choice placed in the middle of an energetic river. And no matter how elegant that choice looks on the outside, it still diverts the flow, maybe just a little at first, but enough to matter, enough to slow the current that supports your intuition, your rhythm, and your emotional coherence. And what about those who already feel off balance? If you're someone who struggles with low energy, chronic fatigue, or a lack of mental clarity, this mistake becomes even more critical. Because when your reserves are already low, even the smallest block can tip you over the edge. That tight ring could be the reason your hands feel colder. That snug bracelet could be why your reactions are delayed. That ankle chain that pulls when you walk, it might be draining your confidence without you realizing. Not because of superstition, but because of restriction. What you wear touches more than your body, it touches your flow. And when your flow is squeezed, your potential is too. You may be wondering if this is an exaggeration, if something as simple as a snug fit could really affect your luck, your health, or your direction. But let's be honest, how often do we treat discomfort as a warning sign? And how often do we override it in the name of habit, sentiment, or style? Jewelry is intimate. It rests against our pulse. It rides on our breath. It becomes part of our rhythm. So if it's not designed to honor that rhythm, if it doesn't move with you, breathe with you, expand with you, it's not a harmless detail. It's a disruption. a hidden weight your energy carries even when your mind doesn't know it's there. So if your body has been giving you quiet signals, heaviness, stiffness, forgetfulness, lack of motivation, don't dismiss them. Don't reach for more coffee, more scheduling hacks, more external solutions. Just stop, loosen, remove, feel. Notice how your wrist exhales when you take that bracelet off, how your hand opens more freely when the ring is gone. That's not imagination. That's energy coming back online. That's your system saying thank you. Because finally, after days or months or even years of being pressed down, something was allowed to move again. You don't need to throw everything away. You don't need to fear jewelry. You just need to understand that your energy is not an accessory, and anything that lives against your skin must either support it or be adjusted until it does. The most dangerous blocks are the ones we grow used to, the ones we wear proudly, the ones we tell ourselves are fine because they've always been there. But your body always knows. Your energy always tells the truth. And if something as small as a bracelet can leave a mark on your skin, imagine the kind of mark it might be leaving on your path, on the timing of your opportunities, on the softness of your relationships, on the clarity of your next step forward. Sometimes to restore your flow, all you need to do is take something off. Not to lose beauty, but to reclaim breath. Section 2, the elemental clash, wearing against your energy type. You are not unlucky, you're just out of rhythm with yourself. That bracelet you thought would empower you, that necklace that was supposed to bring calm, that stone you carry every day to feel more grounded. What if they've been misfiring against your body's natural energy all along? What if the weariness you've been blaming on stress, the hesitation you've been calling self-doubt, or the streak of bad timing you've been silently enduring isn't a matter of fate, but friction, energetic friction? Because when your jewelry doesn't match your elemental identity, it doesn't just sit quietly on your skin, it pushes back against your flow. The result isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's the subtle heaviness that clings even after a good night's sleep. Sometimes it's your ideas never quite turning into action. Sometimes it's your fire dimming or your water boiling over, and you can't quite explain why. Your body holds a unique energetic signature, rooted in the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. This isn't a label, it's a frequency. It determines how you process emotions, how you regenerate after stress, how you interact with the world's chaos and beauty. And just like 2 chemicals can either create brilliance or cause combustion, your element and your jewelry materials are always reacting to each other. If you're wearing a gemstone or metal that contradicts your core nature, the effects may not show immediately, but the tension builds in the background like static, until suddenly you feel like you're working hard but getting nowhere. That's not bad luck. That's resonance mismatch. Let's slow it down and ask something most people never do. Have you ever wondered what your jewelry is doing to your mood? Not just your outfit? Because when it comes to elemental energy, intention isn't enough. The material, the color, the form, it all matters. If you're fire by nature, your energy thrives on movement, brightness, direction. But wear too many water-based stones like black obsidian or deep blue lapis, and that fire starts to flicker. You may feel unusually indecisive, emotionally flat, creatively blocked. Not because something is wrong with you, but because the thing that was supposed to support you is dampening your light. On the surface, you might still look powerful, but inside the flame is shrinking. And what if you're water, fluid, sensitive, introspective, but you keep wearing red stones or warm metals that belong to fire? At first, you might feel energized, but it won't last. The heat overrides your emotional depth. You lose the ability to reflect calmly. Your peace gets replaced by anxiety. See, you'll start responding too quickly, overextending your energy, feeling mentally overheated but emotionally numb. Eventually, you'll confuse burnout with progress. And again, you won't trace it back to that coral pendant or that bold ruby ring. But your energy will know. It always knows. Now let's talk about wood, the element of growth, planning, vision. You're meant to expand, to reach, to initiate. But when you wear too much metal, the controlling element in the 5-element cycle, you might start to feel like nothing moves forward. You plan, but never start. You feel ready, but somehow stuck. You want to stretch, but there's no room. Metal doesn't just decorate wood, it holds it back. And when this happens repeatedly, you begin to internalize the stagnation. You call it laziness. You blame yourself for not following through. But it wasn't about effort. It was about energy restriction. Quiet, unseen, but completely real. Then there's earth, steady, grounding, nurturing. You hold others, build stability, bring calm into chaos. But earth can be overwhelmed by wood if worn excessively. Wooden beads, green stones, even leaf-patterned pendants can stir restlessness in someone whose essence is rooted in stillness. You may start feeling scattered, overly concerned with others' opinions, disconnected from your center. You'll begin to mistake movement for growth and confusion for creativity. The more you try to ground yourself through logic, the less connected you feel. But this isn't a failure of insight, it's the weight of wearing the wrong signal. And if you're metal, sharp, discerning, structured, you may love clarity and precision. But too much earth around you can feel like mud. You get stuck in thoughts, bogged down by overthinking, overly sentimental. Instead of feeling refined and decisive, you start second-guessing everything. Earth feeds metal in theory, but in imbalance it smothers. You carry too much softness and lose your edge. And once again, the culprit may not be life circumstances. It might be that stone pendant or charm made of carved clay or crystal associated with earth that sits right against your chest. Most people will never realize how often they are emotionally compensating for energetic disharmony. They'll switch planners, therapists, even careers, but never question whether their own jewelry has been working against their flow. And it's not because they're careless. It's because no one told them that wearing a ring isn't just a style choice, it's a frequency commitment, a constant signal, a vibration entering your bloodstream and your nervous system every single day. And when the vibration is off, your nervous system works overtime trying to fix something that never needed to be broken in the first place. Here's where it gets subtle, but crucial. The conflict between your element and your jewelry doesn't always feel like a clash. Sometimes it feels like fatigue. Sometimes it's forgetfulness. Sometimes it's procrastination. And sometimes it's a string of small losses you don't even recognize as connected. The email you forgot to respond to, the message you misread, the job interview you didn't follow up on, the friend who suddenly became distant. These things don't feel like consequences of jewelry. But that's because we've been trained to look for problems externally instead of energetically. But the body remembers. And when your energy is misaligned, it reshapes how you see, how you act, and how you attract. If your element is already under strain due to stress, age, illness, or emotional exhaustion, the impact of wrong material jewelry intensifies. What might seem cooling becomes suppressive. What seems grounding becomes heavy. What feels bold becomes loud and chaotic. And if you're someone who's always been sensitive, this is the moment you realize sensitivity isn't weakness. It's your superpower. It's how your body tries to protect you from subtle energetic attacks that the mind hasn't caught up with yet. You might now be asking yourself, how do I even know what my element is? And how can I tell if something clashes? That's a good question, and it's one most people never stop to ask. They just follow trends. They wear what looks expensive, what was gifted, what was trending, what their friends wear, what the spiritual market says is powerful. But here's the twist. Not everything powerful is meant for you. Not every stone is neutral. Not every sacred-looking pendant brings peace. Power without compatibility is pressure. And even the most beautiful piece can turn toxic if it was never designed to match your frequency. That's why understanding your energetic makeup is not an optional part of choosing jewelry. It's the foundation. You wouldn't wear someone else's prescription glasses just because they look good, would you? Then why wear jewelry that vibrates on a different spectrum than your soul? And more importantly, how long will you keep calling it style when your body keeps calling it stress? Some may still resist this idea. They'll say, it's just a bracelet. But when you've tried everything else to feel better, more rest, more movement, more mindset work, and something still feels off, isn't it worth asking if the small thing you never questioned could be the very thing quietly shifting you out of sync? You've adjusted everything else. Isn't it time to adjust what you're actually carrying? This isn't about superstition. It's about compatibility. A tool is only useful when it matches its purpose. And jewelry is a tool, a deeply personal one. It can guide, support, activate, or it can confuse, overwhelm, deplete. The difference lies not in the material alone, but in the relationship between that material and your elemental code. And that relationship is always speaking, even if you haven't learned the language yet. Section 3, broken, chipped, or incomplete jewelry equals broken energy loop. There's something quietly dangerous about the things we keep wearing after they've already broken. A missing bead, a cracked stone, a chipped pendant. It seems small, almost too small to matter. And so we make excuses. It still works. It still fits. It still means something. But meaning by itself does not cleanse energy. Intention does not repair distortion. And when a piece of jewelry is damaged, even slightly, it no longer holds the vibration it once did. It becomes like a scratched vinyl record, still recognizable, still playing the song, but behind it, there's always a skip, always a crackle, always a current of interference that wasn't there before. And the longer you keep wearing it, the louder that background distortion becomes in your life. What we don't often realize is that energy flows through structure. And when the structure is compromised, so is the energy. A gemstone, a bracelet, a ring, they're not just decorative, they're vessels. They hold frequency, memory, and intention. But that frequency needs a clear channel to move. A fracture in the form is a fracture in the field. And your body, whether you're conscious of it or not, begins to pick up on that dissonance. You might notice you're more anxious than usual, that your thoughts feel scattered, that your interactions feel a little more tense, and yet nothing around you has changed, except the fact that you've been carrying an energy tool that no longer works the way it once did. So why do we keep broken jewelry at all? For most, it's not practicality, it's attachment. That necklace from a past relationship, that ring inherited from someone who's no longer here, that bracelet you wore during a difficult but meaningful time. You hold on to it because you don't want to let go of what it represented. But here's the hard truth. When you wear something broken that is tied to your past, you're not just remembering it, you're repeating it. You're inviting that emotional frequency to remain close to your heart, your hands, your skin. And your energy system, which is always listening, assumes that this is the vibration you want to keep living in. One woman I worked with wore a chip bracelet for years, something gifted to her by an ex she never truly healed from. It was beautiful, she said. It reminded her of when things were good. She couldn't bring herself to throw it out. But every time she wore it, new relationships would stall. Conversations would fade. There was always a sense of something unresolved. It wasn't until she finally put the bracelet away, not even permanently, just consciously, that things shifted. Within weeks, someone new entered her life, and for the first time in years, that connection began to grow. Not because she cleared space on her shelf, but because she cleared space in her frequency. We underestimate how often what we hold is what holds us back. Energy is precise. It doesn't lie. It doesn't wait for us to be ready. When an object absorbs enough of a vibration, pain, grief, anger, regret, it stores it. And if the structure breaks in the process, it means that item likely took an energetic hit on your behalf. It absorbed something you were not meant to carry. And while that may sound noble, the story doesn't end there. Because if you continue to wear it afterward, if you pretend the fracture doesn't matter, then the object becomes something else entirely. Not a protector, not a companion, but a slow leak of unresolved noise sitting right against your skin. Have you ever worn something and felt heavy without knowing why? Or put on a necklace only to find your mood shift subtly? That's the thing about broken energy. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just a dimming, a soft static in your inner clarity. You still go about your day, but things feel harder. Conversations feel slightly off. Timing feels strange. And because the interference isn't dramatic, you rarely think to look at your jewelry. But just because something isn't obvious doesn't mean it's harmless. And over time, what you've been tolerating becomes what you normalize, until your entire energetic system adapts to a vibration that was never meant to be permanent. And still, the emotional attachment makes this difficult. It's not easy to let go of something that meant something. But the real question isn't whether you love it. The question is whether it still loves you back, whether it still supports your present energy, whether it still contributes to your clarity instead of clinging to your history. Because if it doesn't, then no amount of sentiment will heal the signal it's sending. And no amount of nostalgia will reverse the impact of keeping something in your field that no longer belongs there. Sometimes people ask, can I just repair it? And the answer is maybe. But only if the structure can be fully restored, without forcing it, without patchwork. Because energetic flow requires wholeness, not illusion. If the piece can be renewed without resistance, then perhaps it can still serve. But if you feel hesitation in your chest when you wear it, if something in your body goes quiet when it touches your skin, then listen to that. Energy always speaks before logic catches up. The most dangerous energy patterns are the ones we normalize. The chipped ring that becomes part of your hand, the cracked pendant that still sits over your heart, the bracelet that's missing a bead but still part of your look. None of these things scream danger, but they whisper imbalance. They whisper grief. They whisper old stories that your present self no longer needs to repeat. And if you're someone who's trying to step forward in life, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, then carrying these old frequencies is like walking through a doorway with your arms full of things you swore you'd already put down. But what if you don't want to throw it away? You don't have to. This isn't about destruction. It's about redirection. You can release the piece with gratitude. You can set it aside in a space meant for closure. You can acknowledge what it gave you and gently declare that its time of being active in your energy field has passed. Because just like people, objects need to rest too. And when you release something with respect, it doesn't disappear. It simply stops interfering. This is not about guilt. It's about clarity, about recognizing that energy follows form, and broken form equals broken flow. About seeing that clinging to a fractured object is often a sign that some part of you is still clinging to an identity, a story, or a pain that no longer defines you. And when you're ready to grow, everything around you must grow too, or step aside. The space you create when you release what no longer fits is the same space where your next opportunity, your next connection, your next level of peace can finally arrive. So ask yourself gently, not just what this piece of jewelry used to mean, but what it's doing to your energy now. Ask not how it looked on your best day, but how it makes you feel in this season of your life, because you deserve support, not memory. Energy that moves forward with you, not echoes that tie you back. And in a world where everything leaves an imprint, the most powerful thing you can do is choose what you carry with intention and choose what you release with wisdom. Section 4. Chaotic or inappropriate pendant designs. Some pendants aren't empowering, they're provoking. And the strangest part is that you might not notice it until you have already been carrying the emotional weight for months. Not every symbol that looks spiritual actually holds spiritual alignment. Not every pendant that feels bold actually supports inner strength. Some look meaningful on the surface but vibrate with confusion, contradiction, or unresolved tension. And yet, because they're popular, because they're eye-catching, because they feel unique or edgy, we wear them close to the most vulnerable part of our body, our chest, without ever questioning what energy they're actually carrying. What if the very symbol meant to bring you protection is the very thing disturbing your peace? What if the feeling of restlessness, the agitation you can't quite name, the emotional tension that flares up without reason, isn't about your schedule, your stress, or your sleep, but about what's hanging just inches above your heart? We wear pendants near the chest not by accident, but by design. The chest is the emotional center. It's where your feelings gather, your voice resonates, your breath begins. And in energetic terms, it's the seat of your emotional intelligence. It picks up vibrations before your mind even processes them. That's why a symbol that clashes with your internal state won't just sit there quietly. It will speak, nudge, press, and eventually push you out of balance, even if you never consciously notice the source. So when you wear a pendant, especially one placed near your emotional core, you are placing a signal over your heart, and that signal either stabilizes you or scatters you. There is no neutral. Think of it this way. If your body were a carefully tuned instrument, would you attach an object to its center that plays a dissonant note just because it looks interesting? Would you wear a chaotic vibration near your breath and expect calmness to follow? And if not, why do so many pendants carry symbols that we don't understand, from traditions we've never studied, with energies we've never vetted? The answer is often hidden in trend and assumption. The spiritual market has become saturated with mass-produced symbolism: dragons, skulls, claws, hybrid deities, layered scripts, each made to look powerful, but few crafted with energetic clarity or cultural respect. And when power is packaged without intention, what we receive is noise. You might wear a dragon because you want strength, but is the dragon depicted in balance or an attack? A dragon in attack pose doesn't symbolize wisdom. It projects dominance, chaos, and aggression. It brings out defensive energy in the wearer. You might start noticing more confrontational interactions, reactive thoughts, or feelings of emotional volatility. And still, you may not suspect the pendant because you bought it with good intentions. But the energy it carries isn't based on what you hoped. It's based on what was embedded in the symbol itself. Now imagine you're wearing a pendant that combines 3 different spiritual traditions: an ancient rune, an Eastern deity, and a planetary symbol, all packed into one charm. It may look exotic, but what's happening energetically is a conversation between systems that were never meant to speak the same language. The result is vibrational chaos, frequencies overlapping, contradicting, canceling each other out. What you feel then isn't power, it's distraction. You feel mentally scattered, emotionally unfocused, and intuitively blocked. And it doesn't feel like the pendant is doing anything wrong. It just feels like your own head isn't cooperating. But underneath the surface, the pendant is producing a hum of mixed signals that your energy field is trying to process and failing to harmonize. Or maybe you're wearing a skull pendant, thinking it's edgy, symbolic of transformation or rebellion. But the skull, unless deeply consecrated or used within a cultural system that understands its frequency, often carries a vibration of decay, finality, or death. Worn lightly, it may disrupt you. And the confusion isn't in the symbol, it's in even angel bent. You might find yourself more emotionally reactive, more easily overwhelmed, or less able to center yourself in times of stress. Not because you're broken, but because the symbol near your heart isn't in harmony with your system. The chest area in Feng Shui is a central regulator of how we receive and emit energy. It connects directly to the lungs, the voice, the heart rhythm. When you place a canical pendant there, you interfere with that regulation. You create a vibrational echo that doesn't match your body's internal tone. And over time, your energy begins to fight itself. One part trying to breathe, the other trying to interpret the symbol it doesn't understand. And because the tension is subtle, you'll likely interpret the problem as personal, when in fact it's vibrational. So the question becomes, why do you wear what you wear? Not why you bought it, not who gave it to you, but what does that symbol mean to you right now in this phase of your life? Because if it doesn't hold meaning, it holds noise. And that noise becomes a layer your energy has to filter through every day. Most people never pause to ask if their pendant is broadcasting what they actually want to say. They never consider that their energy may be carrying a message that doesn't belong to them. And if that's the case, how much of what you're attracting is actually aligned with your true intention? What makes this so difficult is that these pendants often arrive in moments of searching. We pick them up during emotional transitions, spiritual crises, or big decisions. We wear them hoping for direction, clarity, strength. But direction requires alignment, not aesthetics. And strength requires harmony, not contradiction. If your pendant speaks a language your body doesn't understand, it cannot guide you. It can only confuse you. And the more you wear it, the more you merge with that confusion, until even your clarity starts sounding like doubt. So let's reverse the lens. If someone else wore a symbol they didn't understand, one tied to your tradition, your ancestors, your deepest beliefs, how would you want them to carry it? With reverence, with context, with care? And if so, why wouldn't you treat your own symbols the same way? It's not about rejecting bold design. It's about being clear that beauty without alignment is just noise. And wearing a symbol without context is like carrying a sacred book you've never read. It may look wise, but it doesn't teach you anything unless you understand it. You don't have to stop wearing pendants. You just have to ask different questions about them. Not, is this powerful, but is this power aligned with my current energy? Not, is this meaningful, but is this meaningful to me? Because when symbols don't speak your language, they whisper static. And when static sits over your emotional core long enough, it begins to erode your sense of peace without ever raising its voice. In the end, what sits on your chest is more than decoration. It is declaration. A pendant is a subtle but constant message to your inner self. It shapes how you feel before it shapes how you look. It vibrates into your heart before it ever catches someone's eye. And if it carries clarity, it will help you rise. But if it carries chaos, it will drain your breath before you even know why. Section 5. Jewelry without energy. Cleansing is a risky gamble. You'd never wear someone else's sweaty shirt. So why wear their unresolved energy? That's not a metaphor. That's exactly what happens when we place jewelry on our skin without cleansing it first. We imagine that once it's in our possession, it becomes ours entirely. But in reality, every piece of jewelry carries the emotional residue of the people who touched it before us. From the maker's hands to the packager's mood. From the customer who tried it on and put it back, to the friend who gave it to you during their personal breakdown. Every layer of energy remains until it is intentionally removed. And if you've never stopped to clear what was left behind, what makes you think you haven't been carrying someone else's sorrow, stress, or stagnation all along? Jewelry is not neutral. It never was. It is an intimate object, living directly on the body's pressure points. Your wrists, your neck, your chest, your fingers. It rests where the body breathes, pulses, transmits, and receives. And when something that intimate has passed through unknown energy fields without purification, it becomes a sponge of unresolved emotion. Every loss, every longing embedded into that piece becomes part of your vibration the moment you wear it. Not because you invited it, but because you did not invite it. Energy doesn't ask for permission when the door is already open. People assume that new means clean, but a velvet box and a price tag don't erase the emotional impressions left during the making, handling, and shipping process. Jewelry at the store may look untouched, but how many people admired it with envy? How many stared at it with longing? How many carried doubt, stress, or heartache in the moment they held it, only to pass that emotional fingerprint into the metal, the stone, the thread? If you could see the invisible traces that linger on a necklace or ring, you might never put it on before cleansing it again. Because what you're absorbing is more than material. It's memory. And what about gifted jewelry? Something passed to you with love, but from a person who was in pain. Maybe a friend going through heartbreak, a parent battling regret, a partner holding on to anger they never expressed. Their gesture may have come from affection, but the piece itself might carry layers of energy you were never meant to inherit. And if you don't pause, if you don't reset that frequency before bringing it into your own field, then you become the next vessel in the chain. Their story merges with yours. Their unrest enters your rhythm. And without knowing why, you begin to carry weight that never belonged to you. Have you ever worn a new ring and felt unusually tired by mid-afternoon? Or put on a necklace and found yourself emotionally unsettled without explanation? That's not imagination. That's resonance. That's your energy system trying to metabolize a frequency it never agreed to absorb. And when you wear that jewelry day after day without clearing it, you're reinforcing the pattern. You're allowing that external signal to become part of your internal world. You might not notice the shift immediately, but eventually it will feel like mental fog, emotional disconnection, or a sense that something in your life is off and you can't quite name it. What if the answer has been wrapped around your wrist this whole time? This matters even more if you shop vintage or secondhand, because those pieces have lived full energetic lifetimes before reaching you. A locket from 1970 may hold a story of love, but also abandonment. A gemstone ring might have witnessed celebration and betrayal. And just like a home remembers who lived in it, jewelry remembers who carried it. You are not just wearing a material history, you are stepping into an energetic imprint. And unless that imprint is cleansed, it remains active. Quiet, but active. The body is wise. It will always try to reject what doesn't belong. That's why some people experience allergic reactions to certain jewelry, not because of the metal, but because of the energy it carries. Skin irritation, heaviness, tension in the chest. These are physical translations of vibrational discomfort. And when the energy of an object is in conflict with the body's own field, the nervous system picks up on it before the brain can make sense of it. So if you've ever felt a quiet sense of unease when wearing a particular piece, but ignored it, you may have been overriding your own energetic defense system. So how do we cleanse what we can't see? How do we reset what we can't touch? The methods are simple and ancient. You can burn sage or palo santo and pass the jewelry through the smoke while holding the intention of clearing all energy that does not serve you. You can place the piece in the moonlight overnight, especially during a full moon, so that it absorbs the lunar cleansing frequency. You can immerse it in a bowl of salt for a few hours, letting the salt draw out energetic residue. Or, if it's water safe, you can bathe it in spring water while softly speaking an intention of purification. But more important than the method is the presence of mind you bring to it. Cleansing is not a task. It is a ritual of sovereignty. It is your declaration that what touches your body must first be cleared for your spirit. You are not obligated to carry other people's emotional residue. You are not required to absorb the unfinished frequencies of strangers, no matter how beautiful the jewelry looks on the outside. Your energy field is sacred space, and what enters it should be filtered with intention. So when you wear a piece, especially one you didn't craft yourself, you owe it to your body to ensure that what it carries is not a memory, a wound, or a sorrow that belongs to someone else. And if you've already worn pieces without cleansing them, this isn't a failure. It's a common gap in awareness. But once you see the difference between wearing something and welcoming something, everything changes. You begin to feel the subtle differences, which rings soothe your hands, which necklaces open your breath, which bracelets feel heavy, not because of their size, but because of what they still carry from the past. This is where clarity begins, not in judgment, but in attunement, in understanding that your jewelry is not just a statement of style, it's a participant in your energetic life. And every participant must be chosen, welcomed, and reset with care. Otherwise, what you think is yours might still be echoing with someone else's unfinished emotions, still pulling your energy in directions you were never meant to go. So the next time you wear a new piece, pause, breathe, ask yourself, whose energy am I really wearing today? And what would it feel like to wear only what aligns with who I am now, not who someone else once was? In that question lies the shift, from carrying what was never yours to reclaiming what's always been. Your energy, your clarity, your sovereignty. Section 6, tying knots the wrong way. The way you tie your bracelet is the way you bind your fate. That might sound poetic, but it's not metaphor, it's structure. In Feng Shui and traditional energetic practices, knots are not just functional. They're symbolic thresholds. They serve as bridges between the physical and the energetic, between what you hold on to and what you're ready to release. A knot, when tied with care, seals an intention. It stabilizes flow. It harmonizes the relationship between the object and the body. But a knot tied in haste or without attention becomes something else entirely. It becomes a tangle, not just of string, but of energy, of timing, of unseen resistance that coils just beneath the surface of your experience. Most people don't think about knots. They focus on the charm, the stone, the symbol. They trust that once the bracelet is on, the energy will do the rest. But here's the thing, the knot is the activation point. It's the space where energy enters and exits. It's the breath between intention and outcome. And if that space is twisted, stressed, or misaligned, the energy that flows through it will be just as distorted. Would you build a beautiful house with a crooked doorway? Would you lock a treasure chest with a broken key? Then why wear something sacred with a knot that carries chaos? Your wrist is not a neutral zone. It is a high-traffic, energetic gateway. In acupuncture, meridian theory, and energetic anatomy, this area is a convergence point of signals. Life force moving in and out, emotions being filtered. breath being translated into action. And when you tie something around that space, you're not just securing an object, you're encoding a message. You're telling your body, this is what I allow to stay, this is what I agree to carry. So if the knot is forced, if it's tied too tight, if it's rushed, tangled, or uneven, that message is no longer clear. It's garbled, and your energy field receives it the same way a heart receives a skipped beat. Not as harmony, but as disruption. This becomes especially important with the symbolic items like red thread bracelets, crystal cords, 5-element strands, or protection charms. These are not just accessories. They are meant to seal intention, to invite guidance, to protect flow. But that protection is only as strong as the gateway it moves through. When someone else ties the knot carelessly, without presence, without grounding, their emotional state becomes part of the bond. If they were distracted, anxious, or heavy-hearted, that emotional charge doesn't vanish. It becomes embedded in the loop, passed into your field like an echo you didn't choose but now have to carry. And what if that echo doesn't align with your current state? What if it begins to blur your own rhythm, your own clarity, your own emotional temperature? The most common mistake people make is assuming the knot doesn't matter because it's not the main part. But in energy design, what seems small is often central. Think about the clasp that holds a necklace, the pressure point beneath a ring, the seam that holds fabric together. These are not decorative, they're decisive. And when you wear something tied by a knot, especially one you didn't tie yourself, you are giving permission for that energetic door to be opened or closed in a way you may not fully understand. And the moment that door misaligns, even by a fraction, you might begin to feel like you're walking into your day sideways, uncertain, unsteady. Not because something is wrong with you, but because the entry point to your energetic tool was never stabilized. Have you ever worn a bracelet and felt like things kept going wrong, not dramatically, but slightly off? You trip over words. You forget details. Your timing feels just a little behind. You misplace objects more than usual, or your emotions feel less rooted than they did the day before. These are the micro signals of energetic friction. And when traced back to a poorly tied knot, it begins to make sense. Because the bracelet might be sacred, the charm might be powerful, but if the knot holding it all together was made in imbalance, then that imbalance becomes the rhythm your body has to dance with. And no one dances well to a rhythm they didn't choose. So what does a harmonious knot feel like? It feels soft but secure. It moves with your wrist but doesn't dig into your skin. It holds the bracelet without tension. It was tied with a breath, not a grip. And maybe most importantly, it was tied with a clear inner state. Not while multitasking, not while in a rush, not while thinking about something else. Just presence, just breath, just a simple act of sealing energy with care. And in that care, a message is sent. Let what flows into me be nourishing. Let what flows out of me be clean. This is why so many traditional cultures tied knots with mantras, with affirmations, with quiet prayers. Because the act of tying was not mechanical, it was relational. It was a handshake between the object and the wearer, between intention and form. And that handshake, when made with clarity, becomes a contract of alignment, one that the body recognizes, one that the spirit responds to. You don't need perfection. You don't need to tie it 3 times clockwise under a full moon while facing a mountain. But you do need to care. And that care is felt not in the string, but in the space the string touches. Because your body is always listening. And when something new is added to your energy field, it wants to know, was this choice made from clarity or from chaos, from presence or from pressure? The knot, more than the color, more than the charm, answers that question in silence. So if your bracelet feels off and you can't explain why, start there. Not with the stone, not with the meaning, but with the knot. Is it twisted? Is it biting into your skin? Was it tied by someone else in a moment you didn't feel in control? Is the knot pointing in a direction that feels closed rather than open? These aren't small details. They're signatures. And when they clash with your flow, they speak in friction, not words. They speak in mood, in delay, in subtle disconnection. And if you ever doubt how much the knot matters, think about the last time you untied something that was too tight. A shoelace, a waistband, a hairband. Remember the relief your body felt, even before your mind caught up? That's what energy feels like when a tangled knot is finally released. It doesn't scream, it exhales. So what is your knot saying about your current state? Is it loose, thoughtful, intentional? Or was it thrown together just to get it done? And if you had the chance to retie it, not just for the bracelet, but for your energy, how would you begin? Perhaps with a moment of stillness, a breath, a quiet reminder. What I tie, I activate. What I activate, I carry. Let this bond support who I am becoming, not who I used to be. Section 7. Matching materials, purpose, and timing. A bracelet is never just a bracelet. It's a message, a mission, a map. The moment you choose to place something around your wrist, over your chest, or near your pulse, you're not simply adding to your appearance. You're giving your energy field a direction, even if you don't realize it. That stone, that metal, that symbol you selected becomes a co-pilot in your life. It either helps you flow with more ease or silently reroutes your momentum. So by this point, after understanding the dangers of tightness, mismatched elements, broken forms, chaotic symbols, and uncleaned energy, you're probably wondering, what do I wear then? What works for me? How do I choose something that doesn't just look aligned, but actually is? This is where clarity begins, where intention replaces assumption, where energy design becomes a conscious choice, not a decorative accident. Everything you wear carries a frequency, and every frequency interacts with your own natural rhythm. But the beauty is this, your body already knows what it needs. You don't need to guess, you need to listen. Start with how you feel, truly feel, before you pick the piece. Because what you choose to wear should never fight your energy, it should complete it. Let's say your energy has been low lately. Not dramatic burnout, just a quiet depletion. The kind of fatigue that lingers even after rest. The kind that turns motivation into fog. In this case, your system needs warmth, stimulation, a gentle rise. This is where gold, copper, and warm metals become allies. Their frequency activates yang energy, the internal spark that fuels clarity, confidence, and resilience. Gold isn't just about status, it's about ignition. When worn with intention, it reminds your body to rise, not to force, but to remember. And that remembering is what pulls you out of energetic limbo. Now flip the spectrum. Maybe you've been feeling restless, overstimulated. Your thoughts move faster than your breath. You feel hot, not in temperature, but in temperament, agitated, impulsive, unable to settle. That's a sign your fire is too active. You need coolness, soothing, a slowdown, not a speed up. This is where silver, jade, or moonstone speak to the nervous system in a different language. One of exhale, of surrender. These materials carry yin energy, fluid, grounded, receptive. They don't mute your power, they soften its edge. And when the edge softens, awareness expands. The noise quiets, the clarity returns. Not because you did more, but because your energy stopped rushing to keep up with the chaos it didn't need to chase. And then there's direction. Where you wear the piece matters just as much as what it's made of. In energy tradition, your left hand is the receiving side. It draws energy inward, absorbs influence, nourishes your inner world. If you're seeking healing, protection, financial blessings, or emotional replenishment, wear your bracelet, your ring, your energy stone on the left. You're telling your system, I'm ready to receive. And that readiness isn't passive, it's potent. It means your field is open, available, attuned to gifts that are aligned. Your right hand, by contrast, is the expressive side. It pushes energy outward. It communicates, acts, asserts. If you're entering a season where you want to lead, speak, influence, or manifest your ideas into the world, wear it on the right. That tells your energy field, I'm ready to project, to claim, to move. And when worn with clarity, that message vibrates into your actions, your voice, your presence. And then there's timing. The moment you choose to wear something for the first time is not incidental, it's symbolic. Energy responds to timing just as much as it does to intention. Wearing something for the first time in the middle of an emotional storm or in a moment of distraction seals in that fragmented frequency. But wearing it at sunrise, during a quiet moment of clarity, with slow breath and clear heart, anchors the object in a field of stillness. The energy that forms the beginning often decides the momentum. So when possible, initiate with intention. Hold the piece in your hand, feel its weight, and without drama or ritual, simply know, this is my beginning. This is the frequency I choose to carry forward. Symbols also matter, not just what they look like, but what they mean to you. This is where people often reach for what seems powerful without asking if it's personal. A lotus flower isn't just a spiritual icon, it's a signal of emergence, of rising through difficulty, of beauty born from challenge. If you're healing from loss or rebuilding from a painful cycle, the lotus speaks to that process gently. A pen as a pendant for a writer isn't cliché, it's a beacon, a reminder of purpose, a declaration of voice. A tree of life doesn't just symbolize growth, it carries the quiet commitment to be rooted and expansive at the same time. And wearing your birth year zodiac, that's not superstition. It's anchoring. It's aligning your external energy tools with the internal rhythm you were born into. And yet, none of this works without honesty. The most powerful piece of jewelry means nothing if it doesn't resonate. And the simplest thread, tied with clarity and aligned timing, can be more effective than the most expensive gemstone if its frequency speaks to your current need. That's the part people miss. Power is not about price, it's about match. And match only happens when intention is present. So don't chase what looks spiritual. Listen for what feels real, what feels like it fits your current chapter. Not your old one, not your future fantasy, but the now you are actually living in. So what phase are you in? What does your energy hunger for? What materials hold that frequency naturally? And more importantly, what are you actually trying to call in? Stability, expression, protection, softness? That answer becomes the blueprint, and the jewelry you wear becomes the tool to carry that blueprint forward. Not by force, not by magic, but by alignment. Energy work isn't about complication. It's about remembering. Remembering that your body knows what feels right, that your wrist knows the difference between activation and agitation, that your spirit recognizes when something matches and when something is just noise in disguise. The jewelry you wear every day becomes part of your emotional landscape. It travels with you. It whispers to your nervous system. It reflects how deeply you're willing to match your outer life with your inner truth. And when the materials, the intention, and the timing all speak the same language, your energy stops fighting and starts flowing. Final. Jewelry isn't decoration, it's declaration. You don't wear jewelry to impress others. You wear it to express your energy. And now that you've walked through each layer of how jewelry interacts with your life, not just with your skin, but with your clarity, your breath, your rhythm, you begin to realize something most people never pause to ask. Is what I'm wearing aligned with who I'm becoming? Because every piece you place on your body is either helping you rise or quietly weighing you down. It's not about fashion. It's not about what sparkles in the light. It's about what supports your field, what breathes with your pulse, and what resonates with the life you're actually trying to build. Most people wear jewelry based on what they've been told looks good, without ever asking what feels right. They wear tight bracelets that block energy without knowing. They pick symbols that look spiritual, but don't match their emotional landscape. They hold on to broken items out of nostalgia, unaware they're also holding on to emotional stagnation. They receive gifts that carry unresolved energy and never think to cleanse it. They wear powerful materials in the wrong places at the wrong times and wonder why their life feels subtly misaligned. And worst of all, they tie knots that reflect chaos, not clarity, and never realize why things feel tangled around them. These aren't rare mistakes. They're common, collective, and often inherited through habit, not awareness. But what you've uncovered now is the difference between unconscious wearing and conscious alignment. Jewelry is not an accessory to your outfit, it's an extension of your field. When chosen with awareness, it becomes a compass. When worn without intention, it becomes a weight. And the truth is, many people carry frequencies every day that were never theirs to begin with. They feel tired not because life is too much, but because their energetic systems are overloaded with signals they didn't even choose. What you place around your neck, on your wrist, near your heart, or at your fingertips becomes part of your inner architecture. And over time, it either reinforces your strength or erodes your clarity. So ask yourself, is this piece I'm wearing something that helps me breathe easier? Does it invite flow, or does it repeat a frequency I've already outgrown? Does it mirror my direction or distract from it? Because your jewelry is not passive, it speaks. It speaks to your body, your thoughts, your timing. And it's either lifting you toward your next level or looping you back into your last chapter. At this point, you no longer need to be told what to do. You've already felt the difference. You've remembered that a knot is more than a closure. It's a commitment. That a pendant is more than a symbol. It's a signal. That broken pieces don't just carry cracks, they carry echoes. That mismatched elements don't just confuse aesthetics, they confuse your flow. That left and right wrists speak two different languages, and timing is not decoration, it's direction. So from now on, the question is no longer, what should I wear, but what supports who I'm becoming? Because that answer will change with every season of your growth. And that change is the point. You are not meant to carry everything you once loved. You are meant to evolve, and so should your energy tools. If one piece of insight stayed with you today, let it be this: energy never lies. And what you choose to wear is a reflection of how deeply you're ready to live in truth, with your body, your spirit, your breath, and your future. Let your jewelry reflect that truth, not a trend, not a memory, not an identity you've already outgrown. I choose to wear energy that supports who I am becoming. And now you do too.